Hello YouTube. The first video on the Suzuki that I inherited from my brother. So far she served me quite well. I've now driven some 750 kilometers with her. No real problems or whatever. I've cleaned her now for the first time a little bit. I have to say that she is in a bit a sorry state. For example, here's rust is coming up, here's rust coming up. On the frame you see the beginnings of rust and things like that. She has been neglected a bit, I think, by my brother, which of course is well, quite understandable. The last period of his life wasn't really a healthy one. So I'm now going to try to correct some things, but first of all I think I have to repair that brake, the rear brake. It's a floating one piston device. In effect, just one cylinder with a piston in it, there you have it sticking out, has to compress both this pad and this pad onto the disc. It does so by pushing against this pad and also by doing so pulling the whole assembly to the other direction. In effect, also pushing the other pad onto the disc. Basically, the assembly is hardly performing at all. So I think I have to do something. I'm not sure yet what, but my guess is that it doesn't. That the whole assembly has stopped moving. So I'm going to disassemble it, take it loose, replace the pads. They look really sorry, and see what's gone wrong. And if I do find something gone wrong, I'll fix it. So that's the plan for now. There is a plan B, but it's only a plan if time allows. My brother was of my tallness, but he had just taller arms and legs than I had. So he used these handlebar razors, and I think I will take them off. Somehow I just tend to have a bit of a harsh way of dealing with this machine, especially when cornering. So I want to try to change the seating position and see how that improves my way of handling the machine. Okay, see ya. Well, I got it loose and I immediately found what was wrong. Now, this pad still does move a bit, but the other pad is rusted solid in place. Well, that's not the way a brake should operate. Does operate. I can hardly turn it out. Look at it. Well, there we have it. I'll see that I can push the piston in, and then I expect that everything is back to normal working order, because both bolts, there you have the ones, there they are both still greased. So everything was fine on that point. But these pads, they have to go. You can see that they have been they have been worn differently. This pad is completely worn, this is not yet. It's about halfway worn. Well, I'm gonna throw them anyway. I had to put the brake back on its mountings in order to be able to get enough force on this bolt to take the pads out. Incredibly enough, I have to say I was scared that I was about to break this inbus tool. That was how hard I had to force it to break loose. But it's coming, you see, it's coming. So this is where we are now. As you see, I pushed the piston back into its seating as far as I could get it. My next move will be to start to reassemble everything, of course. And first it's this part that will be brought back to its seating. Yes, this little spring little thing mounts there, which of course has to be has to see some grease before I do so. And this is where the brake pads rest onto. Next, of course, I will install the pin into the brake assembly with the pads hanging on it. Having done so, I hope to have enough clearance to put the whole assembly back to where it should be. Of course, I won't forget to reuse these, well, I think I best call them noise cancellers. They're supposed, I think, to help against squealing brakes. And this is what's coming in, the new brake pads. They look to be gold, isn't it? I think they are, because that's the price I had to pay. 53.86 euros claim, which is to me very, very, very expensive for just two brake pads, even though they are original Nissans or not. Just for a comparison, I recently bought two new brakes for my car front, that is pads and disc, left and right together. They cost me considerably less per brake than just these two pads. So that's the first step. The little spring thing is now back where it should be. Both sides applied a little bit of copper grease, just to, well, hold back unnecessary corrosion and squealing. Next is this one. And there you have the whole assembly put together with the new brake pads on, of course. Note please that right now I can move the whole thing in all directions, which I should. I'm now going to tighten, of course, the bolts. First these two, this one. And I'll show you the last. At last, I'll show you a working brake. Okay, once more I'll show you the amount of free movement that I now have with both the bolts tightened. You can see that now I have freedom of movement, and that's absolutely necessary for this brake to function properly. And now the last thing a little safety measure. That's this little, well, call it a safety nut or a safety bolt. Anyway, it will be turned in to this hole where already the retaining pin is sitting, and this little thingy right here in my fingers that isn't showing up, there it is, will function as a retainer for the pin. If the pin might come loose for whatever reason, this little thing will stop it turning itself out and of me losing a brake. Okay, and always apply your brakes a couple of times before you're going to try them out, because first of all the piston has to resettle itself against the pads, and the pads have to settle themselves against the disc.